Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Bucks Latest presented by fanarch.com. I'm your host, Dean Simon. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning on post notifications to stay up to date with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. To start this episode today, it's no secret that the Milwaukee Bucks could be in for a world of hurt, outside of all the Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors with Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, all being guys that potentially could leave and find new opportunities with other teams. So I thought it would be a good exercise to kind of skim through the unrestricted free agency class in terms of the guard position to see what kind of replacements are out there, what kind of options the Bucks could look into in terms of guys that could replace a Gary Trent Jr., a straight shooter, guys like Kevin Porter Jr. that, have a little bit of all-around experience. And the first target that I think the Bucks could potentially look into is Markelle Fultz, the former number one overall pick in the draft of the 76ers a couple years back. And for his career, 10.4 points, 4.4 assists, 1.1 steals, and he's grown into a fantastic perimeter defender. His athleticism is still kind of there, and I think he just deserves another shot on a team like the Bucks that's going to enter a gap year, which, who knows if it extends past next year, but entering a gap year in 2025-26, he could prove himself as a very useful role player, a great two-way player that can stick around for the 2026-27 season and potentially further on if the team is able to build a true title contender with Giannis Antetokounmpo hopefully sticking around on the roster by that time. If he has a great season with Damian Lillard shelved and he takes on a lot of the responsibility, it's very possible that Markelle Fultz could find himself a big chunk of time in the rotation for the 2026-27 season. And that's just kind of their main point guard option outside of having Kevin Porter Jr. return and having other players be candidates for that role. And also, I think as a Gary Trent Jr. replacement, a suitable replacement at that, maybe even better, is Seth Curry, who, underrated as he may be, 10 points an average for his career, 43.3% career three-point percentage. He led the league this season with a 45.6% three-point percentage, and he's proven himself to be an incredibly effective regular season player and postseason player, because during the 2021 NBA playoffs with the 76ers, number one, he has a 46.8% career three-point percentage in the postseason, and specifically in the 2021 playoffs, he proved to be a dominant shooting threat because he averaged 18.4 points through the first two rounds of the playoffs. And he could be a great option to replace Gary Trent Jr. if he decides to leave in free agency, use the leverage that he created from his fantastic season and fantastic short postseason run to get a big annual salary elsewhere. But if Gary Trent were to leave, Seth Curry could come in and just start shooting the skin off of the ball, because that's what he's been doing throughout his entire, 11, 12-year career to this point. He's become one of the most underrated backup shooting guards in the league because he's kind of been toiling on different franchises like the Charlotte Hornets, especially this past year as a member of the Hornets. But again, he's just proven to be straight up one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he could serve as a valuable piece for the Bucks moving forward, especially if Gary Trent were to leave. And also, just before the making of this video, Evan Satterwee also tweeted that guys like Dennis Schroeder, Tyus Jones, Malcolm Brogdon could all be players to monitor for the Bucks specifically in free agency. And that's not too far out of the realm of possibility, just considering that they'll be some of the best role players at the guard position. Well, first of all, in general, but specifically at the guard spot in this free agency class, which is otherwise a little bit underwhelming. But moving forward after the free agency talk, Stephen A. Smith on a recent First Take episode, he was asked if he could give one word to describe Giannis Antetokounmpo's career if he never wins another championship, to which he responded with underachiever. Now, I don't need to really get into all the specifics as to why this is just such a ridiculous claim. Not that he's won 2 MVP awards and NBA Finals MVP, scored 50 points in the closeout Game 6 in 2021, is a Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 7 consecutive All-NBA first-team appearances continuing this year, and he made the NBA's top 75 team at the ripe age of 26. If Giannis stopped playing basketball right this second, he is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer and arguably a top 15 to 17 player in the history of the league, depending on who you ask. And also, Stephen A. Smith added that he's only won 1 playoff series in the past 4 years. Okay, just this past year, the Bucks' big move for Giannis's big playoff push with Damian Lillard was to bring in Kyle Kuzma. What has the Bucks front office done for Giannis since they hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy in 2021, outside of Damian Lillard, which is a trade that has had its ups and downs, but mostly downs since that move was pulled off? What has John Horst and the Bucks front office done to surround Giannis with capable talent that's able to make a championship run? Sure, going down to the Heat in that upset a couple of years ago, it was in 2023. That was brutal. It was brutal for everybody on the Bucks roster, including Giannis. But what has the Bucks front office specifically done for Giannis outside of bringing in Damian Lillard to get this group to a place where they could actually compete? Still a ridiculous take by Stephen A. Smith, and we all know that this is what First Take does, so it's not really something to read into. But wow, underachiever? You could say that about so many guys other than Giannis. It's ridiculous. But anyways, moving on, because I'm going to just keep fuming about it. The Toronto Raptors are still remaining as a possible suitor for Giannis this offseason, though other recent updates have shown that it's likely he'll remain a member of the Bucks, and he wants to build another title contender in Milwaukee. He wants to play in the finals again for the Bucks. Still, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Toronto will still pursue Giannis and offer some pretty enticing packages to the Bucks, including the likes of RJ Barrett, who to me proved a lot this past year, especially at the beginning of the year, where he was averaging about 28, 5 and 5 for the majority of the beginning of the season. Even the likes of Scotty Barnes as well, if they get super desperate, because that franchise is just trying desperately to escape the rut that they've entered after winning the title in 2019, and they could figure that they'll trade anything for Giannis for a chance to not start anew, but to just right away build a title contender around Giannis, because if you have one of the top 3 to 5 players in the league, you are automatically a title contender just by default, because that's what a title contender needs in today's NBA, and for the past 10, 15 years, you need to have a top 3 to 5 player in this league, an MVP candidate, someone that can fight for that spot as the best player in the league to even be in contention to win a title. It's just what history has proven, and Giannis landing on any team outside of the Bucks, he would automatically make them a contender just because of his status, because of who he is, placing as an MVP finalist for the past couple of years, and smack dab in the prime of his career going into his age 31 season. Any team that he goes to, including the Toronto Raptors, no matter what really you put around him, has to be included in conversations of, oh, are they a dark horse in the Eastern Conference? So, it's a pretty interesting thing that Toronto will still likely be pursuing him with all they've got, but outside of Scotty Barnes, outside of RJ Barrett, do they throw Emmanuel Quickley in a deal, Grady Dick? How much would Toronto be willing to give up, out of their previous draft picks, out of previous guys that they've traded for and extended? It remains to be seen what exactly they will offer, but likely RJ Barrett's on the table, and maybe even Scotty. And finally, the Bucks received some pretty disappointing news regarding Kevin Porter Jr. and that he'll likely opt out of his, I believe it was a $2.5 million player option, and he'll opt instead to become an unrestricted free agent. And his possible departure may have cleared things up for the Bucks front office. It could be seen as a positive, because, for their scouting department, recent reports from Fansided's William Moxon have showed that the Bucks could seriously entertain taking Wake Forest's 6'5" guard Hunter Salis to kind of act as the Porter Jr. replacement with the number 47 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Salis averaged a career best 18.3 points and shot 45.7% from the field in the senior season, and he could be one of the Bucks' top targets in the draft if their guard room continues to thin out, with Porter Jr. possibly leaving, Gary Trent possibly leaving, and of course with Damian Lillard shelved for most of the next season, if not all of the next season. He's a bigger guard with incredible body control. He's got a nice mid-range jumper. He's a pretty active and energetic defender, both on ball and off ball. He's just a joy to watch in general, just a huge ball of energy, but he's also very controlled. His three-point shot just isn't there, even though he's had a season in college where he shot 40% from deep, but this past year was around 27%. The three-point shot's just not there. And if it's not off the dribble, like kind of fading to his left, he's not really willing to take it. But again, a smooth mid-range jumper. He's got an array of different floater types of shots from 6 to 8 feet out. And just me personally, I certainly just would not mind this pick, again, as someone that knows and realizes that the Bucks sorely need athleticism as much as they can get, but they could also get an older player that's more experienced, that has all these different amazing qualities about him at the point guard position that could potentially come in and immediately impact a team that, maybe they won't be contending next year, but in 2026-27, the year after that, Hunter Salis could definitely make a difference for the Milwaukee Bucks. Anyways, that'll be it for me today. Thank you very much for watching Bucks Latest, presented by fanarch.com. Once again, please consider liking, subscribing, turning on those post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all of the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. I've been Dean Simon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Bucks!